course, is king. I am your General Greene, and it is 9:11 a.m., the start of this broadcast. And thank God I was born to deliver this broadcast and to deliver the truth and to sit here gratefully with all of you tuning in, because it's just absolutely amazing what's going on in the world. I'm going to break down, dissect the now current, ongoing, and the very beginning of the predicted U.S. stock market collapse that I, of course, have been predicting for some time. And I said Monday would be the start of it, and all week would be a bloodbath. By the way, congratulations to Mr. DeSantis. Came over with an additional $200,000 into Deck 2 here at beautifulislandproject.com. He's one of my amazing members in the founders round. Now he's in Deck 2 with an additional $200K, of which he gets to participate in our 1000X investments, here are terms, and of course, all those capital gains and more comp time. And our amazing community as we prep not only for and lead the revolution, but our 1776 blockchain launch, which only my members will receive. So God bless you, sir. Also had a wonderful conversation from a great gentleman, a believer out in Australia. He's onboarding with 250 grand. Congratulations to you, sir. You know who you are. It is an absolute honor. Today, we're going to get into the news. We're going to talk about things from a biblical perspective, so you better understand where we are in end times. We better understand collectively ourselves, what our responsibilities are as Christians, as leaders, as disciples of God. The things that I believe, all need to work on moving forward. In addition to that, just the absolute catastrophe that now is Iran. For those of you just waking up this morning, for those of you that don't know, Saudi Arabia has now entered the world war with its own airstrikes. This just happened a few minutes ago. So Saudi Arabia is now participating in the World War III with Iran. Many believe that the Iran war thus far has been a complete, total, utter failure. And the reason for that, of course, is Donald Trump has failed to remove the regime, failed to remove the mullahs, failed to remove the Ayatollah Khamenei and his family. And in addition to that, it's extremely tragic, but there's been millions of civilians slaughtered that Donald Trump said he was there to protect and, quote, help. All the people that, of course, were protesting the Iranian government they're no longer with us. Because, again, the Ayatollah is still in power. Today, I hear a red cardinal in the background right now. It's my brother reminding me to come with this with love. Thank you, Cody. Appreciate it. So many are viewing this as a complete and utter failure. And in addition to that, now Donald Trump says that the United States is the policeman of the world, continuing the neocon agenda, of the wars of Iraq and Afghanistan and Libya and now Iran and many others. And Donald Trump is now policing the Strait of Hormuz on behalf of the American people indefinitely. I want you to understand the significance of this for a minute. Donald Trump in the United States, after failing to remove the regime in Iran, failing to remove the mullah, failing to remove or help the protesters at all, failing to finish the job quickly and swiftly, which would have been the right thing to do. I mean, he's the one that entered the war, so he'd end it, right? Has now led the American people into a multi-decade war, a war that will last longer than 10 years, in my opinion, just like all the other ones, just like Iraq and Afghanistan and all the other Middle Eastern wars. This is not going to be over anytime soon now. And now, after a failure, everything has been a lie. No peace deal, as he promised. No successful peace negotiations. Remember on his birthday at the UFC fight, he said there was peace. No peace. I told you that was all lies. It was bluster, peak empire. It was bravado. I told you it was BS. I told you it was a scam. People were like, oh, no, it's all good news. Now here we are, no peace, full-time war, a decade-long war, and now the United States policing the Strait of Hormuz indefinitely, forever. Donald Trump says we're going to be the steward of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, that is a sign of weakness. That is a sign of a giant failure in the Middle East. If the United States must now spend taxpayer dollars indefinitely, policing militarily the Strait of Hormuz, just so a traffic of goods and supplies and oil and whatnot can move through there, that proves, honestly, that the United States has failed completely. That proves Donald Trump is weak. That proves he's lost. And that proves there's going to be multiple false you-know-whats very soon, FLAGs. So be on the alert for that. And that's exactly what the Lindsey Graham suddenly was, for those of you that don't know. Many believe, for example, and I'll let you decide for yourself, but Lindsey Graham, after visiting a Ukrainian drone factory and holding up a drone, perfectly healthy, actually went down. I'm not saying I believe this, but that he went down in a drone strike by Russia or Iran or another, bad state actor. I'm not saying that happened, but I'm saying it's definitely possible. I'll say that the suddenly of Lindsey Graham, as I told you days ago, is an extremely bad omen and only proves that the war has just begun and that we've just gotten started. So, terrible news. Absolutely worst of the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst news that you could possibly get. And honestly, the American people are just fed up with it. And I understand. I mean, the American people are fed up. They've been destroyed by hyperinflation, conned by more lies. They're now coming to terms with the fact that Washington is literally just criminals. And the stock market's obviously rigged. Americans are drowning in debt, drowning in hyperinflation. Americans are tapping their retirement and savings accounts just to put food on the table. The average American can't afford anything, doesn't own anything, and there's a reason for it. That's because the deep state elites have been ripping you off. Again, none of it's hidden. It's all out in the open. The elites even tell it to you, right? That's what they said. They've been saying. They said, you will own nothing and you will be happy. You know, what we do here is opposite at the Island Project. You own the best assets they don't want you to own. You get rich. You have private monetary sovereignty with no bank debt. You get cash flows. You get beach, oceanfront homes, ski lodges in the mountain of Deer Valley, Park City, Utah. You get international diversification. You get island diversification. And you know what? I think I'm going to buy actually a Wyoming ranch too. How about them apples? So what we do is the reverse. Give you power in Robinhood format to own the best assets in the world, democratized for as little as $200K, enjoy it with no bank debt, and own everything that they don't want you to own. It's incredible, isn't it? Thank God, honestly, thank God that God has provided in such abundance for our members and helped us build his ark. It's absolutely amazing. And we're going to talk about the parable of the 3 talents today. That is something that I'm going to sermonize a little bit on because I believe it's very relevant to where we currently are. But first, I want to cover the news and what's going to happen next. And again, I encourage you, my predictions have all been stunningly accurate. All of them. I told you Elon Musk's pump and dump stock of SpaceX would collapse to zero. And it's lost 40% of its value since I made those statements. It's been absolute trash. Trash. And Americans have lost a lot of money. Retirement accounts, pensions. Many of you were probably conned into it. I told you not to buy it. I told you Elon Musk and all the deep state scum were going to dump their positions. And they have. It's down 40%. Bloodbath. Bloodbath. New 52-week lows today. New 52-week lows pretty much every day. Going much lower, guys. Again, SpaceX doesn't have a product. They don't make any effing money. Do you understand? They lose money. It's all bluster, lies, and bravado. It's big talky talk. No deliverance. You see a moon colony? I don't. You see a Mars colonization? Nope. How about the Epstein files? Where are those? Nowhere. Let's see here. Golden Age? Golden turd. Right? Oh, let's see. Did Elon Musk save you any money with the Doge investigation? Zero. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. I mean, again, it's all bluster, lies, and bravado. It's not a business. It doesn't own anything. Elon Musk is just some dude that tells people what they want to hear. Do you get it? Hey, do you see Donald Trump's Golden Dome over America? Is there a Star Wars system like he promised? No. None of it. Where's the Golden Age? There is no Golden Age. Are you paying attention? You're in war. So again, the American people are waking up. Now, America's running out of time. Now that the United States has been drawing from its U.S. strategic oil reserves, there's essentially nothing yet. Donald Trump is panicking. This is what he's doing. He's panicking. Now he's attempting to save face after failing to remove the Iranian regime, allegedly, according to his words, failing to replace the mullahs, failing to help the protesters, failing to install his whatever version of democracy or whatever it was. And now he's backtracking and he's using your money, your taxpayer dollars, to police the Strait of Hormuz indefinitely. That is the biggest red flag warning sign of world war and expenditure collapse that has ever existed. I mean, this is the equivalent of Rome when Rome essentially moved into the Dark Ages because it spent all of its money in foreign wars and building armies and funding the military. And, same thing with King George. Why did they lose their control of the American colonists? Well, that was because they were just involved in too many things. And it was difficult to control the new founding of America, George Washington, all these people, because they were so far away off our shores. It's the same thing now. I mean, Donald Trump is investing more in the Strait of Hormuz, spending worthless trillions right now on a failed war and a failed experiment and a failed installation of democracy and a failed regime change. Okay, now he's backtracked to he's going to police the strait indefinitely. Yeah, sure you are, jackass. You haven't done anything you've said. Nothing. These are just facts. It's not even political. No regime change, no peace, no golden age. The list goes on and on. So again, Americans are pissed. And I don't blame Americans being pissed. I've already warned you there's going to be full-on protests all across the United States. There's going to be anti-war protests and, God forbid, riots. The American people have figured it out. Now, hours ago, the Saudi regime has declared the start of war, according to Yemen's foreign ministry following strikes on the Sana'a airport. So this just happened. So Saudi Arabia has now moved into the war. This is reporting coming from Yemen and Russia today. And I'm just reading a comment there. And so again, we know what's going to happen next. These people talk big, but they fail to deliver. I want to provide as much real value that I can today to you guys. That's why I'm kind of thinking and I'm pausing a little bit, because I know that you don't have a lot of time. And every day I'm going to come on camera this week and the market's going to be down more and more every single day. Every single day it's going to get worse in the Strait of Hormuz. There's going to be a false FLAG. I know. I mean, God's already told me China and Russia are going to attack the United States. God forbid. I have to say it that way. So I already know all this stuff's going to happen. I already know America's in an economic collapse. I already understand, as I'm sure you guys do, fully the hyperinflationary wealth transfer. I know exactly where the real assets are that you need to buy and should buy. I know what are going to be the beneficiaries of the collapse. This is why I built Island Project, because everything we invest in are the beneficiaries of the wealth transfer. It's the beneficiary of the reset. As we move into the 2030 new agenda, this benefits greatly, because I constructed the arc with the full understanding, decades and decades out, of exactly what's going to happen next, and already understanding through biblical prophecy where all this is headed. I think I might be getting a delivery or something. So, if you think the United States is going to effectively police the Strait of Hormuz, you're out of your mind. And just like I called BS on Trump's peace deal at the UFC fight night on his quote unquote birthday because it sounded good, I'm calling BS now. And so this golden age is blatantly effing trash, is what it is. And we're now at war, and you're now at collapse. And it's been a horror show from the lockdowns to the things here. Now World War III with Iran. It's hard to ignore this. And the American people, they're waking up. The amount of corruption in Washington and Wall Street is the worst I think we've ever seen it. And I think all these people are going to burn in hell, honestly. And that's good. That's what happens to demons. Now, again, I want to get to the real value here today. And again, it's all about taking action. It's all about taking action. By the way, just on like a positive note, I've had a great morning. I went on this brutal hike, dude. I'm actually like carrying weighted vests now on my hikes. Burn more calories out way, more fat shedding, etc. Is like awesome. I love doing like powerful hikes like that, speaking with God. And, you know, action's more important than talk, right? And so I encourage you guys, you know, be your best self, get healthy, wealthy, be living the good life. I think the problem with most Americans is they think that there's no other option. You know, they've grown complacent and lazy, maybe even depressed about the current events, and they don't think there's like an alternative. There's a lot of alternatives, guys. You can establish new government today and declare yourself 1776 with us. Easy. If you don't like the way the current system is going, don't participate in it. You know, every dollar you spend with BlackRock, State Street, and Fidelity is suicide. I have to say that's my opinion, but literally that's what it is. Because you're trading your kid's entire future and you're helping those pricks build a police state, which is going to enslave your church, you tuning in, all of your family, all of your children and grandchildren. So every dollar that you're investing in BlackRock, State Street, the too big to fail bankster class, every dollar you're putting into Jamie Dimon's pocket, all of these people, you're only dooming yourself. And I hear it all the time. Oh, there's no other option. Yeah, there is. There's tons of different options. You know, George Washington didn't go to the king when he was declaring war against the dirty redcoats and ask for his permission. He didn't be like, you know, I should probably give the king a call, make sure it's okay that we declare 1776. I'll let those dirty redcoats, give them a little bit of a heads up before we declare war. No, they just build a new system. And so the solution is the easiest thing on planet Earth. It's as easy as apple pie. I mean, all you do is you just walk away from the corrupt system. You don't participate in it. You don't give any of these pricks any of your money. You vote elsewhere, okay, through non-compliance. You don't do anything that they say at all, and you invest and vote with your wallets and build stuff, just like you build your body, just like you build an investment, just like you build a marriage, just like you build your faith. Honor, discipline, integrity, hard work. It's not hard. See, the American people have just grown fat, happy, and lazy, and that always leads to collapse. Now, I love the baby boomers, and I've got many of you, obviously, as friends, family members, and investors. And I think you are one of the greatest generations ever. But I think the problem with that generation is there was a lot of complacency that also kind of brewed. A lot of just, well, you know, it's just going to be like this always. And I think in the, 1990s MTV generation, which I grew up in, really is like responsible for where we currently are. Because tough times build strong men and sharpen their swords. so to speak, and good times make people weak, dumb, happy, fat, lazy. And we hear this all the time. I'm giving you guys some motivation today, too, but we hear this all the time where, your weak ass, broke, fat friends usually say this, the ones that you shouldn't listen to at all. They're like, you need a little moderation in your life. You work too hard. You're working out too much. You're making too much money. I mean, have a little moderation and balance in your life. That's the worst advice ever. Moderation? Moderation means you're mediocre. Moderation means you're fat. Moderation means you're broke. Moderation means you're a loser. Moderation means you've given up. You think Kobe Bryant was the best basketball player on earth because he's like, well, I got to moderate. I wouldn't want to work too hard, Got to have a balance in my life. No, not at all. He was training, working, and pounding all day long. And when many people went home, his competitors, and they were sleeping, he was still taking jump shots. So again, this whole idea of the world, it's such a cop-out. It's because people want to be lazy. They want to convince themselves moderation is okay. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. No. Now, you go to war with yourself every single day. You work your ass off. You never quit. And you don't moderate anything. You go all in. And this, brings me to solutions and God and all of his glory and just the amazingness. I mean, the amount of miracles that I see in my own life, and I hope you see these too, are right in front of all of us every single day. This whole human experience is such an amazing, beautiful thing. And I think sometimes we get caught up in the muck of it because we're viewing everything close up, but we're not really stepping back and having a sense of perspective of where we are and the gifts that God has already given all of you tuning in. And I want you to think about this today. I think a lot of people are so caught up in the future of what they think of how great something's going to be. And what they should be focused on is the gift that God has already given you in your life and the grace that he's already provided. I think one thing wrong about our society is how people compare themselves to others, especially in an influencer social media based economy. And I think there's like a lot of jealousy and envy and things that are not of God online. And I think a lot of people spend time, saying things like, well, why does this other person have this? Or, how come this other guy has that and I don't, God? Or this person and that, and comparing themselves again. But they're missing what God has already given them. They're missing what's right in front of them. And so we're going to read this. I'm going to cover the news today too, but we're going to read about the parable of the 3 talents in the book of Matthew. I think it's very important to study, and I think it'll all give us guidance of where we're headed and really the actionable things and ideas that we need to be following in these very difficult, grave times. I get pissed off. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I always tell you the truth. I become angry because I see people hurt. I see these politicians lying to the American people, and I see them hurting them, to say it lightly. I see these people getting away with it. I see fraud and corruption at the highest law of the land. I see people suffering. Knowing what the deep state's going to do to the average person moving forward makes me sick. And, it is scary to think about. The fact that an entire police state surveillance system is literally already here. And all the elites are now going to collapse the entire global flat earth economy and move us into essentially a totalitarian dictatorship. And it's depressing because we know most people can't even see it. And they don't even understand. They actually think it's a good thing to have all their rights stolen from them, to have zero authority over themselves and their bodies, to give all their freedom to Elon Musk and the oligarchs in a self-driving car. I mean, people even want this stuff. It's crazy. Just like they're promoting the mark now. And they think it's a good idea to marry their bodies biologically with the AI. It's appalling. And so I think a lot of us understand this. A lot of you tuning in do. You get what's happening. And my question for you tuning in is, if you know the whole system's rigged and you know it's a scam, would you show up at a casino, for example, over and over again that was rigged by the house, that had a secret hidden deck of cards that they were using, and then broke and changed the rules anytime the house lost to you, okay? And then just, did whatever they want? Of course not. You wouldn't play a rigged game. And so I asked this question to the American people and all of you tuning in, then why are you still participating in it? Why are you still donating your time, your energy, your investments, your money, your life to things that are rigged? Like, why are you giving your attention to people that are only hurting you? Why are you doing business with those companies I just mentioned, et cetera? And it's a question I think you should all ask. I mean, I just speak for myself, but I do business with none of these companies. I've held my ground through it all. I've always stood tall. I've never been afraid. I've never let fear stop me in anything in my life. I've always walked through fear. I've always been incredibly faithful. I've always focused more on action than I have talk. And I've always delivered real world solutions and built great things. And God provides to people that he knows can handle it. God provides to someone and somebody like yourself tuning in, to people that he knows will adequately steward, that he knows are capable of it. And I think a lot of people are only letting themselves down in their own life, and they're not taking enough risk. They aren't determined enough. They lack perseverance. And my goal is to build people up, to build a better world, to build a better future, and to build new America. Again, it's not hard to build a new system, guys. You just join up to Island Project and join the new America. It's as easy as American apple pie. And you join already soon to be near 500 other people that are amazing. And you own the best investments in the world. And it's not a timeshare. Talk to my dad at 808-442-2934 and you protect yourself. And you make a lot of money. That's it. And you live a good passion first, God first, faith first life. And you're productive. And you multiply. And you grow. I used this example on X yesterday. But my grandfather bought his first house for $30,000 in Long Beach, California. It's worth like $5.5 million today. I want you to think about that. Think about that compounded growth. A $30K investment in Long Beach when my grandfather was probably in his 20s or 30s, right? Now worth $5.5 million. What did he own? He owned, well, a really good house, like a middle-class American house at the time, and it was in a really good location. It was near and in around the beach in Long Beach, California. It's now worth $5.5 million. Think about that for a minute. The compounded growth of just sitting on the asset with no bank debt and then doing nothing and allowing God to just take the wheel and grow it to 5.5 million. I actually punched those numbers, and if Island Project Fund 1, which has already been completed and already successfully funded, owns our amazing portfolio of assets. This is excluding Fund 2, which is another 50 million, and the hundreds of millions we already command and control, by the way. But let's just isolate Fund 1 by itself. If the 33.5 million grows at the same growth rate as my grandfather's house, the 33.5 million will be worth an astounding over $6 billion over the same timeline. Doing nothing with complete sustainability and just buying and holding. I mean, let me ask you a question. Do you think that a $10 million house in the best location in the world, which most people can't afford, that has the highest demand anywhere, places like Hawaii, places like Palm Beach, places like Beverly Hills, do you think that those assets will be worth more or less in, 10 years? Let's go out a little further. Do you think Beverly Hills, Bel Air will be worth more or less in 30 years? You know, if your answer, it's a pretty obvious answer, obviously. I mean, you'd have to be not smart not to figure that answer out. If you think that it'll be worth more over that time horizon, you should buy as much island project as you possibly get your greedy hands on, honestly, because not owning it would be the greatest risk that you ever didn't make. You understand? And so we're going to get into this book of Matthew today because the parable of talents discusses this, where God gives three of these individuals wealth. And basically, these three individuals do three different things with it. Let me read it, and then we'll get back into the news. So this is Matthew chapter 25, verse 14, parable of the talents. It says, "For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country, who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them. And to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability." Now, for those of you that don't know what a talent is, think of it like a talent is like God giving you gold, right? And I've actually punched the number on this, but like 5 talents would be the equivalent of about like $5 million today. 2 talents would probably be like, 2-ish million. And the 1 talent, which I believe was what the third man received, would be like about $1 million. Just to give you like a frame of reference of the wow factor of how much was given to these 3 individuals. And so, into one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey. Then he who had received the 5 talents, who got the most, went and traded with them. He invested them and made another 5 talents on top of it. So they actually made a return on their investment. They actually put the money to work with good stewardship and made a return, actually grew what God had given them, and made another 5 talents. And likewise, the second individual, who had received 2 talents, gained 2 more also. So the second individual did a good job too. He actually took the 2 talents God gave him, and he grew it another 2 times. He doubled what God had actually given him. He was a good steward. But he who had received, this is the last person, and we're going to focus on this person. But he who had received 1, he didn't receive as many as the others. He's probably thinking like, God, why? How come he only gave me like $1 million and these other guys got 5? Like, come on. A lot of you do this too in your life. You're like, how come this other guy's so rich and I'm not? How come this other guy's got the pretty girl and I don't? How come this other person, was born into money and I wasn't? How come this person's better looking and I'm, you're always comparing. So I'm sure the third guy was like, what up, God? Like, you should have given me the 5 million too, right? He's probably complaining or something. But he who had received the 1 talent, what did he do with it? He went and dug in the ground and he hid his Lord's money. So he buried it. He buried it in the ground, took the 1 talent, okay, and hid the Lord's money. And after a long time, the Lord of those 3 servants came and settled accounts with them. And here's what happened. It's really interesting. And it's something we can all pray on and meditate today, because I was reading this yesterday and it really stuck out to me. It's like extremely impactful. So he who had received 5 talents, the most, came and brought 5 other talents, doubling it, saying, Lord, you delivered to me 5 talents. Look, I have gained 5 more talents beside them. His Lord said to him. And he said, well done, good and faithful servant. Well done, good and faithful servant. I want to highlight this for a minute. Commonly in the Christian faith, and among us Christians, we think, even myself, I've thought about this in the past, that, we all want to hear from the Lord at the end of our life, job well done, quote, good and faithful servant. Well done, good and faithful servant. We all want to hear that as believers, right? Or that's at least what we should. But a lot of us think that's something we're going to hear when we're already dead. Like, we're not going to hear that, well done, good and faithful servant, until it's already over, right? When you're already at the pearly gates. But actually, the Bible doesn't tell us that. That may be partly true, but for those of you that don't know, the only part of the Bible where it ever mentions that line is right here, which I'm reading to you today. And it's in the book of Matthew, in the parable of the talents, chapter 25, verse 14. And it's incredible to think about this. The Lord is not saying, well done, good and faithful servant, later at the end of your life, after you buried your gift and your treasure and did nothing. No, he's saying it while you're still alive, because this has something to do with God's expectations of all of us, myself included, and all of you tuning in. I want us to pray on today. And so the Lord says, well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will then make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. He also had received, the other man, 2 talents, came and said, Lord, you delivered to me 2 talents. Look, I have gained 2 more talents besides them. So the second guy did the same thing. He didn't make as much money. He was given 2 talents, brought another 2 talents, but he still did a really good job. He was productive. He was fruitful. He invested. He took action. And he actually returned, a return on what the Lord had given him. And so the Lord gained 2 more talents beside them. And the Lord said, well done, good and faithful servant. He says it again. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. He didn't give him 5, he gave him 2. But he equates it equally. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of the Lord. Then he who had received the 1 talent, the least of all, came and said, Lord, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. And so I was afraid, and I went and I hid your talent and buried it in the ground. Now, think about this for a minute. So the other 2 actually were productive, took action, focused on solutions, took risk, invested the money, more importantly, returned the money, good stewardship, grew the wealth that God had given them. You can apply this to all things in your life. It doesn't have to be money that you're applying to it, and did a good job with it. The third person buried his head in the sand, did nothing, was a sloth, was lazy, buried it for safekeeping, for the rainy day, took no move. We know so many people like this. Maybe it's even you tuning in. Never takes a risk. Well, I don't know. There's too many risks out there, so I'm not going to make a decision. Well, I don't know. I'll just bury it in the ground and do nothing. We hear about this with complacent Christians all day long right now. In fact, I think more people in the world are the third guy today than the other 2. Let me give you an example. You hear things like, you know what? I'm just homesick for heaven. You know what's in God's hands? I'm going to do nothing. Just waiting to die. Yep, he's going to come back, so I don't have to do anything. I'm just going to bury the talents in the ground, just wait for his return. Good thing God's going to do all the work, and I don't have to do anything. I'm just a sloth. Just like the third guy here. Doing nothing, taking 0 risk, not working hard, not investing, not returning anything on what was given to him, not properly stewarding, not being bold, not doing anything. And here's what's important about the consequence. I want you to hear what the Lord God, not me, what the Lord God has to say about slothfulness, has to say about not taking action, has to say about not taking risk, what he has to say about not fighting back peacefully. voting with your hearts, your minds, your churches, your investments, and all these things. Because this is what the Lord says. But his Lord answered and said to him, "You wicked and lazy servant, you wicked and lazy servant, you knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. So you ought to have deposited my money in the exchanges, and at my coming, I would have received back my own with interest." So he tells the third person, "You sloth, you lazy fool, you wicked person, having buried the gift that I gave you. You took no risk. You took no action in your life. You did nothing. You were playing it safe. All you did is wait for my return." He says, "You wicked soul." His words, not mine. And so, take the talent from him and give it to him who has the 10 talents. So what does God do? He takes the talent away from the guy that just buried it, the gal. Apply this to your own life. And he gave the guy who actually has been multiplying more. And a lot of you don't understand this. Many of you still are thinking in scarcity and not in abundance. You are not thinking in multiplication. You are not thinking in compounding. You are not thinking in solutions. You are not thinking even in a little bit of risk terms of what it is you need to do. You're thinking in, I'll bury it, I'll do nothing, I'll be a sloth, because that's safer. And I'm here to tell you, God says, it ain't safe at all. You playing it safe ain't safe. He's calling you wicked. That's what he says, not me. And it continues. This is what is amazing. The Lord doesn't hold back. He ain't politically correct, nor am I. This is why I'm in your face every day. Listen to these words. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. So he takes the talent, gives it to the other guys. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So God, a loving God, not a vengeful God or anything like that, with love, just states it for what it is. And let me repeat. He says, but from him who does not even have what he has will be taken away. A lot of you are doing this right now. You know, you're holding on to the world. You think you own your things. No, you don't. God owns everything. God's in charge of everything. Many of you think you own your house. You don't own your house. God does. Many of you think you hold your title. You don't. God does. Many of you think your retirement accounts are yours. No, it's not. It's God's. People think it might be their platform, like I have a platform. It's not yours. None of it is. Your family, not yours. It's God's. Your own life isn't yours. It's God's. You know, and you see this in the church too. You know, the people that are the least charitable are usually the poorest, because they're always thinking in scarcity as if something's being taken away from them. And I'm just speaking from personal experience, but the richest people I know are actually the most charitable. And they are the most abundant people I've ever met in my entire life. And money just flies through them like water because they don't hold on to any of it. They invest, they steward, they multiply, and they're fruitful. You know, one of the first things in the Bible that it ever says is be fruitful and multiply. And it applies to all things in our life. Having beautiful babies and growing families and getting married, but it also applies it to this. So for everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So I want you to think about this. We're going to go over some quick notes, and I'll get back to a little news. But to me, I just speak for myself. I mean, this is emblematic of, I think, America right now. This is emblematic of a lot of Christians. This is emblematic of a lot of people I know. All they've done is nothing. All they've done, they think they've done the right strategy, though. They've taken what God gave them and buried it. And they're like, I'm just going to wait. You know who tells you to wait? Satan. He rarely says, don't ever do it. Like, think about like starting a business. Some of you want to probably start a business out there, but like, you're kind of scared to take the risk, right? You're like, I don't know though. If I quit my job and start that business, that's kind of dangerous. I don't know. And there's a little thing back in your head. His name's Satan, by the way, who's saying, you know what? Maybe you will actually start that business, but just wait a little longer. Wait a little longer. Just wait. Not telling you no, just telling you wait. Like the scam that is the United States of America, retirement savings programs. What does a financial advisor tell you? Look, wait a little longer, okay? And after trading your entire life doing something you don't like and hate all those years, trading your time for worthless paper currency and money, later on, you're going to do it. But we're going to put it off till 65, 80 years old. When you're unhealthy and about to die, then, maybe you'll go do it. So there's this waiting game. There's this wait and see, wait for God's return. Do nothing. It's safer here burying our head in the sand. I'm here to tell you it's not. God clearly states it's not safer. Holding on is not safety. No, it is actually destruction. It is actually wicked. You have to let go. You have to understand and produce and till the land. We have to be grateful for whatever seasons that we are in life. We all go through good and bad seasons. And we must be grateful and understand that that is God's will. I'm sure many of you have gone through times of your life that have been incredibly prosperous and joyful. You've gone through other times that have been hardship and chaos and war and destruction and death, followed by a reemergence and a new door opening. And, I think these are all things that we should think about. And good advice, in my opinion, is that no matter what season you're in life, wherever you are, good, bad, hardship, not hardship, greatness, joy, love, chaos, death, cancer, whatever it might be, new relationship, divorce. Wherever you are and wherever God has provided and given you, cherish that gift. Don't trade today for what the future you think may or may not hold. Have a vision. Understand where it is you're going, okay? Have a plan and be decisive. But focus on and take action with what has already been given to you. That precious gift, no matter what it is. And don't compare it to other people. It clearly states in that parable that what you do with that is important. And it's not until you go all in that the next door opens. I want you to understand this. And I want you to ask yourself this question today. It's a spiritual question. And I know this video is spiritual today, but it's on my heart and it's very important for us to hear it. What are you holding back in your life? What are you holding on to? What are you bearing like the third servant there? What is it? It might be money. It might be a job. It might be a relationship. It might be an addiction. It might be a crutch. It might be, I mean, anything. The list goes on and on. Might be testimony that you could share with the world about Jesus's love in a miracle that happened in your life, but you're afraid. It could be you withholding even telling somebody because it's kind of scary that, you know what, have you ever heard about Jesus Christ? And let me tell you how he saved my life. Some of you might be too scared to do that or even admit that you follow God. And so, I asked today, and you don't even have to say it out loud, but you just think about it in your own life. What is it you're bearing? You need to unbury that. You need to give that to God. You need to go all in on it. When my brother was dying with cancer, God rest his soul, up in beautiful heaven, Uncle Cody, as we call him, always visits me in a songbird and our beautiful red cardinal out here in Maui. When he was battling cancer, we went all in. The battle was the focus. The war was the focus. And each day, I used to remind him, as he would, remind me too. But look, God, I always tell him, Cody, God's only going to give you all that you can handle for just this one day. I don't want you to think about tomorrow. Don't think about next week. Don't think about a month from now. Don't think about a year from now. Don't think about the things you can't control. Just, this is the day. We're going to focus on this. We're going to get through it together. We're going to get through chemo. We're going to get through amputations. We're going to get through this surgery. We're going to get through this and that, and we're just going to move through it. Whatever it is. And so just know and have confidence and faith. God's never going to give you more than you can handle. With him. Again, you go to him for the strength, him for the courage, him for the confidence. And so I believe God, no matter what it is and what you do and what you have at this very given moment, has graced all of us and all of you tuning in with a special gift that's right in front of you that a lot of you just don't even realize or don't even see. And you're actually not properly stewarding what God had already given you. Another example of this would be someone comparing themselves to other people and asking why you don't have this or that. God's thinking in his head, but I gave you this little thing and you did nothing with it. And if you did something with it, I would multiply even more. I mean, think about this. It could be even in your career. Maybe some other guy got the promotion and you're like, what up, God? I was deserving of that. How come I did not get that promotion? How come they got a raise and I didn't? I don't work in corporate America, but I'm assuming that's how people think, right? And you might be thinking that. What you should be thinking is, you know what? God's got me here for a reason. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to honor God. I'm going to work my ass off. Maybe in a position I don't even really like right now. But I'm going to do such a damn good job, and I'm going to kick ass so much, be so disciplined, and I'm going to multiply and focus. I'm going to cherish this gift God gave me. I'm going to grow this baby, and I'm going to glorify God. And the second you go all in on that, boom, another door opens. The promotion comes. The victory is here. The acquisition occurs. The girl of your dream walks into your life. Everything changes. So what a lot of people, I think, don't understand about life and about the spirit, honestly. So go all in is what I'm telling you. And the same applies now. In the chaos of the world, with everything going on in the geopolitics, which of course we all love to study, and I'm extremely interested in and verbalizing all day, every day. And, don't hold back, right? I'm a politically incorrect guy. Pretty much invented that. That's why it's called alternative media television. Let's not lose focus of the real goals. Let's not focus on what you're building. Let's not focus of who and what you're really going to war for. And so I think it's important for all of us to consider. And to me, those verses provide encouragement and also provides foundational level thinking, moving ahead into all the things that we know we're all facing now. Again, everybody knows that the New World Order's here, guys. Okay, pretty much. Everybody knows it's the greatest wealth transfer in world history. Everybody knows they're being lied to by their government officials, politicians. Pretty much everyone knows the whole system's rigged now. Everybody gets it, and everyone's expecting trauma, chaos, collapse. The list goes on and on. So for a minute, let's step out of that. Step out of that little bubble, okay? And remove our eyes from what we're myopically viewing. Look back, and let's look up towards the mountain for a minute and stare at the rainbow that God has provided and understand where all this is going. Now, God is coming back. We will be called up. His return is imminent. But what we do today legitimately, really, and faithfully matters. I always call it building kingdom wealth for a reason. Our day-to-day action, our discipline, our encouragement, our rage even against the machine, the passion that we have to live, the things that we focus on, our businesses, our relationships, giving to others, being charitable, being loyal, being a friend, being somebody who can forgive. These are all extremely important things. So don't allow, this is the message I think God is giving us. Don't allow the deep state, the media, influencers, the tech, groupthink, people that think things are impossible and can't be done, people that have given up. Don't listen to people that are slothful. Don't take the advice of people that aren't living the life that you want to live. You know, like people ask me sometimes, they're like, Christopher, man, I wonder what it's like to be you when you wake up in the morning. I mean, honestly, it's great. I make money pissing off the deep state. I do what I love and I have passion for my life. And in addition to that, don't pretend to be a perfect person. But because we've been fruitful, because we multiply, because we go all in, because we ask for what we want in life, but more importantly do, because we cherish the gift that God has given us, and we lift it up to His glory, more is given, more doors open, more people march, more beautiful things happen. And sometimes I even get ahead of myself, honestly. I get ahead of myself because my vision, just for my own business and the things that we do, is so massive, right? I forget sometimes to be like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, we actually run a multi-$100 million portfolio with these many properties and these many people. And I'm like already thinking light years this way. So again, you want a plan. You want to go bigger. You're not going big enough. And we'll end with this. Any action is better than none. Any action. You know, there's times. There's times to wait. There's times to play it a little bit safe in life, right? There are times. But then you go all in. You've got to make a decision. You've got to take action. You've got to go for it. You got to ask the girl. You got to start the business. You got to invest in yourself and your life. You've got to make a decision. Not making a decision, doing nothing, that's actually the greatest risk to be damned. It says so in the Bible. It says wicked servant. God literally, the Lord banishes them to hell for crying out loud. So anyone that you know, all yourself included, all of us collectively, that you know that the only thing they're doing is bearing what they think is theirs, it's not a winning strategy, guys. And I think a lot of you, I really want you to understand this, because a lot of people say, like, Christopher, when is enough, man? You already got 2 Lambos, bro. You got all these properties and you're just kicking ass so much. Why don't you moderate a little bit and enjoy your life, bro? To the person that's multiplying and being fruitful, more is going to be given. We're leading the charge for a reason. We're leading the war, we're fighting it, and we are the American Revolution. And I want you to understand that. It's His, but we're stewarding, and you should too, in all areas of your life. Family, friends, your money, your investments, your relationships, as a father, as a mother, as a friend, as a lover. I mean, even for you guys out there, for those of you that have children, would you want your child to marry, let's say you have a daughter, a man that's like you? Because if you don't, you need to improve yourself. Be the example. And our society is so poisoned and so sick at this point, so disillusioned, so cultureless, so lacking guiding light, so lacking a foundation. We need, all of us, we need God more than ever. Even starting this video today, I was trying to make a thumbnail, and I always know when things are really about to hit the fan, like the stock market collapse, which I'll be back on that all week, guys. It's going to be a bloodbath all week. I'm sorry it's bad news. I'm sorry you don't like the truth. I'm sorry I warned you to sell your silver at 115 ounce. I shouldn't have to apologize for being right, okay? I'm sorry I've probably shaken a lot of you up going, how dare Chris say me doing nothing and being a sloth and a damn fool burying my treasure in the sand doing nothing is somehow going to damn me to hell. I didn't say that. God did. Believe it or don't. I'll pray for your soul. But I was going to say, I know crap is also about to hit the fan because the AI isn't outputting a lot of the stuff I'm asking it right now for various reasons. Like, I was even trying to make a thumbnail for today's video, and it's like, sorry, can't do that. It was like, we can't create content like that. I'm like, I just took a picture of myself and said, put breaking news on it. It's like, nope, that's a violation of our terms and agreements. I'm like, I just took a photo of my face. It says breaking news. It's like, sorry about that. This is a violation of our terms and service. See, that's what's going to happen in the future with your bank account. That's what's going to happen when you're trying to log into stuff. You ain't going to buy or sell, guys. You have a choice. And there are alternatives out there. There's great ones already kicking butt. There's already winners. There's already people doing it. And I'll leave you with this too. For all the critics and cynics out there and the people that don't believe, I pray for you. I want you to believe in yourself so much. I want you to have self-confidence. I want you to find passion, hope, love in your life. I want you to be great. I want you to know you're all special. I want you to know, even to my haters out there, I love you, and I'm praying for you. You'll be saved in the blood of Jesus. You know who you are. But something I've always believed is lead, follow, or get out of the way. Because if you don't have a better solution, then lead, follow, or get out of the way. Get out of the way or follow if you don't have any other alternative solution. If you don't have a solution, follow or get out of the way. Or go lead something else. And so I think that that's a commitment that all of us should make. And we should honor not just ourselves as God's beautiful creation, but God, the Father, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus for giving us this, beautiful life. I do want to end on too, it's interesting. I ran some polls, and I always do what you guys ask. And a lot of you guys really want this Wyoming ranch. So I think we're going to buy one. How about them apples? How about them apples? And you know what I think would be really cool with it? And this would be a good piece of diversification. We already own our place in Park City, Utah. Is we buy a Wyoming, maybe even Montana or something like that. Wouldn't it be cool if it was a working ranch and it had a business on it? Already made the calls. I don't reveal everything. Up freaking only. And I want to leave you with this. He gave each according to his ability. Be faithful in what God has given you because he expects. He expects. Don't bury your talent in the ground. We can even think about this literally. Why would you bury your talent? I know so many people like this, man. They're very talented, very smart, and they've buried their talent in the ground because they're afraid of risk so much. and they're so risk adverse, they never get anywhere, they never go anywhere, and they never live to their potential, in my honest opinion. And let's remind ourselves what the Lord says to the evil, lazy servant who says, "But I was afraid, God. I was afraid. So I buried the talent like an idiot, and I did nothing." We know what God said. He said, "You wicked and evil servant," banished them essentially to fire. And I want to end on this too, for even you non-believers out there. Hopefully, if you stayed here this long, I'll give you another just truthful meditation for today. All are welcome, of course. But you only got one life, man. Gal, whoever you are, tune it. One life. One freaking life. One chance. And I'm going to leave you with something really powerful. What would you do if you knew today was your last week to live? Or we could phrase it another way. What would you do and how would you live differently if you knew today was the last week before God's return? Pray on this today with me. If you don't believe in God, then just the world's coming to an end then in a week. You've got, what is it today? Monday? We've got until Friday the 17th, the whole world's going to come to an end. Just over. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days to rock and roll. What would you do differently? Now, from a faith perspective, I want you to ask the question, how would you spend your time differently? Would it change who you spent time with or didn't spend time with? Would it, alter, would you study the Bible more or would you study the Bible less if you knew you had a week before God's return? How would you spend your money? Would you be more charitable or less? You've only got a week to go. Maybe a lot of you would bury it. I don't know. Maybe you'd be more charitable. Would you love deeper? Would you love your family and your kids harder? Would you be a little bit more passionate or not? Would you go the other direction? Would you spend more time with yourself or would you spend more time with other people? Would you work more or would you work less? Would you make that call that you've been needing to make for a very long time and keep putting it off, or would you actually make the call? Would you make amends? Would you, again, we can go through these questions, but the answers to all of those questions, if you only had a week to live, or the world was coming to an end in a week, or God was returning in approximately 1 week, those answers you should actually do this week. And not hold it off. So I think it's important that we ask tough questions like that. I'm not saying you have a week to live, but I'm saying it's good to ask questions like that at times because it tells you what you need to do. And again, if you don't have a healthy sense of fear in your life, you ain't trying hard enough. You know how you know you're headed the right direction in life, business, with the Spirit? It's a little scary. When God said, "Hey, Peter, walk with me on water," could you imagine if Peter was like, "You know what? I'm going to have to do an audit first and a real deep dive here to make sure that this water you're telling me to walk on, God, is bulletproof because I don't really believe you. It's going to take some time. I think I'm going to wait for a while and I'm going to do more due diligence before I take your hand. Talk to me next week, God." Yeah, I don't know. It seems kind of risky. If he would have done that, he never would have walked on water. And this applies to our lives as well. It applies to taking risk. It applies to investments. It applies to the relationship. It applies to sports. As I always chat, I learned a lot in sports myself. And as an athlete, one thing I learned is always take the shot. I was kind of known for taking the shots no one else would take. Very well known in the water polo community for pulling stuff off that honestly should never have happened. Like, for example, one year I was playing the Naval Academy. They were a great team, and we lost the match that year. They had a ton of depth and really fast swimmers. But I remember I've told this story before, they weren't really respecting us. And so I'm at half court. The referee's about to blow the whistle at half court. And this is not a traditional move at all. And I just noticed the goalie isn't really paying attention. So you know what? He just disrespecting, not expecting it. So what I did is when the referee blew that whistle, I gunned a literal rocket and double barred it in right above the goalie's head and made him look like a bitch. It was incredible. The U.S. Naval Academy coach was so pissed off. I think this is where I got it from, actually. He threw a chair in the pool. I'm not even joking. And called the goalie out, punished him, and threw in the B team. Because the coach knew what I knew. His team was being weak. They weren't good stewards, and I just made them look like a fool at the Naval Academy. I mean, that's a place you don't want to look at like a fool and not follow orders, man. You're going to be literally, in a bad situation. So apply that to your own life, because a lot of you are so afraid of taking the shot, you're actually afraid of scoring. This is incredible to me. A lot of you still to this day tuning in, you're afraid of making money. You're literally scared of having what you would actually want. You're terrified that you might actually get something awesome. You're worried that if you take action, something great might happen. Allow God's miracle, is what I'm telling you. Allow it. Step into it. When Benaiah was slaying the lion in the snowy pit, he didn't say to himself, I'm going to fail. He went in there and said, I'm going to slay the lion because God's going to show me how. When David knocked down Goliath, he didn't say, I'm going to fail. All you gave me, God, was a slingshot and pebble. He said, no, give me the slingshot. I'm taking you down because it ain't going to be me. God will make the shot. And it applies to all things. Building Island Project, I'm testimony to that. It's the same thing. Everyone told me it can't be done. Well, God did it. And that flew past me was a red cardinal. And that's my brother. And we now command hundreds of millions of dollars. And the truth is, many of you will probably never get to that kind of success. And I'm not even saying that's big. We're going to billions. Why? Because we've been fruitful and multiplied. We have faith. We work our butts off. We think in abundance. We never quit. We wage war. We do not moderate. We are animals. We are lions. We are warriors. And we fight. And we do not comply. And we lead God first, faith first. And God gives to those people. And I'm not speaking about myself. I want that person to be you. I don't want you going your whole life to just die. I don't want you waiting. I don't want you thinking you've just got all this time, because it'll be the biggest regret of your life. And we all know people like this. They stayed in that job they hated for 50 years, and then it's over. They never started the business. They never even gave themselves a chance. And if you understood this, there's a reason why I'm explaining this so hard today, is that if people really understood this, that deep state you hate so much, these demon criminals hurting you, would be toppled in today's video. Do you know how powerful you are? Do you know how powerful the Island Project has become? It's more powerful than me. That's a multi-billion-dollar entity now waging war institutionally against the deep state. Pretty effing incredible. That's insane. And I ain't doing it, God is. That's awesome. That's freaking insane. And now with Deck 2, Fund 2, and our $50 million offering, compounding another 100 investors, that's nuts, dude. That's absolutely insane. And we're dominating for a reason. For a reason. for a reason. Because my team, we'll outwork you. We'll make you look like a fool. We'll teach you some valuable lessons along the way. And we'll show you. We won't just talk. So my encouragement too for all my amazing investors out there and all of our new onboards is, again, when you come in with your investment, immediately book your vacation. Immediately stay at one of our luxurious properties worth over $5 million plus each. Pick an island: Maui, Hawaii, the Big Island, Oahu, Waikiki, Park City, Utah, soon to be Thailand, soon to be Wyoming, and a massive ranch. How about them apples? I get it. It pisses people off. They ask all the time, how is it possible? Because I'm crazy enough. I love the Lord so much, I give him everything. You're holding back. You don't think it's possible. And that's why you're failing. 2 Lambos, 3 Lambos, 4 Lambos, 5 Lambos, 20 homes, 50 homes, 1,000 homes. It's all God's. It's abundant. Money ain't real. You know what the biggest con and crock that all of society seems to agree on, but is actually a fraud, is that you would trade time for a worthless trash US dollar backed by nothing, that offers zero value of nothing. And you would trade your entire life for it, your good years, your health, your wellness, your body, your heart, your mind, your passion, and your love. All so you could wait to die and bury your treasure forever. Don't let that person be you, man. Hopefully this video encouraged you. I love you. God bless you. It's been long. I'm going to cut it up. All my team do it. And also, too, we got some cool calls, man. Papa John has been on the phone all weekend. I encourage you to give him a call at 808-442-2934. And yeah, we got some real live calls. You'll see that later today, or at least I think it's coming today from my production team. And yeah, you're going to see Papa John in action, man. It blows people's minds. Honestly, like, my dad's like kind of famous in Waikiki now. It's kind of crazy. But like, everybody knows and loves my dad. You know, it's kind of hard. You know, you just listen for the vroom of a 1,000 horsepower Lamborghini running through Waikiki with, you know, properties basically everywhere. It's kind of hard to miss. But the coolest thing for me is just seeing just how cool the ecosystem is among all of our members. Like, I know, Frank, you're coming in, man. One of my great investors, you know, coming into the islands here. But just the people, they're just so incredible, right? Like, the fact that what we actually do sits in the real world and it's not on a screen, it's just the greatest thing ever invented. And it's not a timeshare, guys. It's not a timeshare. What's cool, though, is we're going to take trillions of dollars from the timeshare industry, and it's going to pour into the island project. Timeshares are dead. No one's ever going to buy a timeshare again because I provide real ownership and have reinvented the real estate game unlike anyone else in the entire world. And this is a game-changing event worth billions. Just like my father says. God bless Jesus Christ is King. 808-442-2934. Roll over those IRAs, just like Mr. DeSantis came in with another $200K this afternoon. And we got more acquisitions and a lot of excitement. And in addition to that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be getting ripped later today. Here, I'll give you my weigh-in. Give you a little update. Haven't lifted weights yet today, but I have done my weighted backpacking. I'll just give you my stats. So, you know, I'm getting kind of light. I'm not even trying to lose weight, but I'm eating clean and I'm getting all my macros. Today I weighed in at 163.3 pounds. And the body fat percentage is now at about 14%, trending lower. When I first started, I was heavier with a lower body fat percentage of like 13.7. Now I'm lighter because I think there's an inverse relationship, and I'm about 14%. And again, if you want to follow my workout plan, the plan is pretty simple. Work out 3 to 5 days a week, get proper sleep, do no synthetics, no tea, no peptides, no bullshit. Just use what God gave you, be healthy. You don't want to take any of that crap. 3 to 5 days weight training, clock the 10 to 15K steps a day, gram of protein per body weight each and every day. Lift heavier weights incrementally over time. Don't hurt yourself, of course, but lift heavier, because by lifting heavier, you actually get stronger. And by getting stronger, you actually get more muscular. You've seen even the changes. I'm only on day like 85, I think it is. Dude, it's only been 85 days. It's going to be nuts in 365. I might even get into natural bodybuilding or something. I mean, honestly, this is a lot of fun. I enjoy holding myself accountable and showing the progress, and then pissing off all the haters as like the rock hard abs keep chiseling in. I mean, guys, it ain't easy. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying you're going to have to be incredibly disciplined to get what you want in life. I'm telling you, you're going to have to make a move and actually invest in this if you want to get rich this year. Like, you're going to have to get off your ass. I'm telling you, you're going to actually have to do something. It's not rocket science to get ahead. It's not rocket science to be your best self. You're going to have to be disciplined, go to bed on time. You're going to have to read the Bible every day, and you're going to actually have to like work at it. You're going to actually have to step into fear uncomfortably. I know it's what a lot of people don't want. You're going to have to clean up your diet, stop drinking beer, stop eating Doritos all day. You're going to have to stop being a pussy. Honestly, I know it's hard. It's hard love. They used to call me, not the general when I played water polo, but they called me Captain America. I was the guy that did the rally cry. Like, no joke. So not much has changed. They called me the Green Machine in high school. They called me Captain America in D1 water polo. And now I'm known as the General. Okay, so not a lot has changed. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I'm saying the routine is actually easy. It's just hard to implement because people are unwilling to do it. If you want to make 10,000, let's say, a day, you're going to have to solve 10,000 people's problems and put in the work. You know, think about this for a minute. So many of you are looking for creative ways on how you can give back and grow kingdom wealth and get ahead in life and make investments that actually matter, mean something, and that give you a purpose. It's right here. How many of you are sitting around just like, what is my purpose? What should I do? What do I even like to do? This: passion, love, hope, enjoyment. Live your investment, allow it to work for you, and step into it. And then we hand you the keys to our Jeep. We've got 13 of them at every property. You get the keys of the Diamond Nuts tier of the Lamborghinis. I'm buying more exotics soon. You'll soon be getting the keys to a Wyoming ranch. That's what I'm working on now. Thailand, Tokyo, international expansion. You're going to get the keys to your own wallet of the Island Project blockchain. See my intent to tokenize in terms. So you're going to put your key in the ignition. Again, you're not watching an influencer online who's just showing you all this stuff. You're actually able to live it at theislandproject.com. That's a big, big difference. Because I don't know about you, man. I'm tired of watching influencers all day show us their fancy cars. Wouldn't it be more fun to actually drive that car? Well, you can with Island Project. Aren't you tired of watching influencers prance around their mansions? Wouldn't you want to stay at the beachfront property? Well, you can at Island Project. That's what I freaking built. Wouldn't you rather live it instead of spectate? Wouldn't you rather, instead of playing Grand Theft Auto, actually be Grand Theft Auto? Which, by the way, they based that character on me. He kind of looks like me for a reason, if you don't know, if you're not already aware. Because they basically copied, probably me. A guy who looks like pretty much just like me, a lot of people are saying. I don't play the video game. But when you actually want to live that in real life, wouldn't you actually like to get the girl in real life instead of like texting back and forth on a dating site or something? I mean, thank God I didn't have to deal with any of that stuff. That was like after my time in the dating world. I would hate if I had to date now. Thank God I got married young. That'd be absolutely terrible. Could you imagine my dating profile? It would be insane. Like, what would it even say? Like a diamond nut man who calls himself the general, who has a massive social media following, runs Island Project, drives Lamborghinis and yells a lot with chairs in the pool, and enjoys long walks on the beach and sunning his balls. I mean, that would be weird, wouldn't it? I feel like it'd be really hard to find somebody. So thank God I actually found my beautiful soulmate long before all that stuff happened. That would be insane. But that's what the youth are actually dealing with nowadays, man. It's kind of hilarious. It's kind of hilarious. So, I've gone too long, but today was fun. Let me text the donut here. Yo, donut. Where's the Papa John drop? All right. I love you guys. God bless. Jesus Christ is King. Links below here, terms and disclaimers. I'm not a financial advisor. And yeah, let's lead with this or leave with this. I want you to think about this too. God gives, God expects, God rewards. God gives, no matter how big or small. God expects, God rewards. God gives, like he gave the 3 talents. Then he expects. Then you deliver and he rewards. Do not bury your head in the sand. And again, a lot of you are constantly saying this, and you're wrong and erroneous to think it. And I'm not picking on anyone. I'm saying this for all of us, myself included. You're given something and you're like, well, this looks small. Dude, you know, David's pebble and slingshot didn't look like much. And honestly, again, I relate it to my own life journey because it's easy for me to relate that. You guys have your own, you know, metaphors and examples, but like, you know, Green Wave didn't look like much when I started, and social media didn't look like much. And when I first invested in Bitcoin, it didn't look like much. It looked like, you know. And when I first was called by God to build the Island Project, it didn't look like much. But then it became huge. So God giveth, he expecteth, and you've got to be prudent, and you've got to put it to work, and you got to be fruitful and multiply. And anyone that's not, who's burying their treasure and just doing nothing and waiting for the return because of fear, isn't doing the right thing. And there will be consequences to that. And again, I leave it again because I'm going to just keep talking here for a second, but it's so crazy that that's actually what I see in the world today. I would say 90% of even the good people I know, like amazing people that I respect and love and Christians and all that kind of stuff, a lot of them though, I'm calling you out, dude. I'm sorry, you ain't out there, you ain't trying. And you're burying your treasure, and you think doing nothing and waiting for God's return is the answer. It's not. It clearly states in the Bible that if you want to hear good job, good and faithful servant, he didn't say bury and do nothing and be slothful and be depressed and lonely and sit in your basement waiting for his return and just being like, well, you know, someone else is going to do it. People are even doing this with politics. Like, well, I don't know, Trump's going to save the day. He said so. I mean, I'm rooting for him. I sure hope he does. In fact, I pray Trump pulls off his Strait of Hormuz policing, and I hope he just obliterates Iran, just like he says. And I hope that Star Wars Golden Dome goes up. I hope it's the sexiest thing we've ever frickin' seen. I hope he ushers in that Twitty Twister Golden Age, and there's just laser boobs floating everywhere. I hope it's the roaring 20s. I hope it's the greatest thing we've ever seen. Oh, I'm rooting for Elon Musk and those Mars colonies. It's going to be great terraforming the entire planet. I can see it now. High rises, McDonald's, Starbucks on every red rock. And after Elon nukes it and brings in oxygen and water, it's going to be the greatest colony we've ever seen because we must be interstellar. And I hope all these fancy technologists find life extension. You'll no longer die, Christopher. You're going to live forever. You will have superhuman abilities. That's right. We're going to install the AI. It's going to be right here. You're going to translate languages. You'll know math like the beautiful mind, and you'll never work again. The UBI will pay all of your bills. It'll be amazing. I'm rooting for it, guys. Sounds logical, doesn't it? Yeah. Golden Dome. Sure, bro. Yeah, you couldn't stop the bat, V. Uh-huh. Still got that cancer and male pattern baldness you haven't got a cure for? Like, again, guys, I know I'm preaching to my own choir here, but you know what I actually really pride myself in a lot is the fact is much of a business that we run here. It's actually a church. I don't know if this is tuned that well, but yeah. Yeah, the people that want UBI are just lazy. Yep, out of tune. It's not going to sound good. I think my kids were playing with it. All right, guys, I love you very much. I just feel like there's something else I want to say. Sometimes I feel like Jim Carrey or something. Jim Carrey's an interesting guy, man. He lives here in Maui. An interesting dude. His movies were great, though. Big shout out to Papa John. What else? I don't know. There's just so much in my mind recently. Are you guys like this? I know it's kind of crazy, but like, I'll close out here pretty soon. But man, my mind, it just races. It's just fire. It's just a fire. A freaking fire. Oh, this is where we'll end. Oh man, I'm actually going to give the most alpha at the end. Listen to this. I tweeted this a while ago, and it's literally your roadmap for the next week and the next few months. Let me find it real quick, and then we'll end with it. Just so you know, because I figured it all out. So we know what I'm about to say is a guarantee. So basically just follow this as a guide. And even if you didn't take anything from all the other stuff we talked about today, which I hope you did, listen to this, because this is going to be exactly what happens. And burn it into your memory and burn it into your mind. Follow me on X if you don't. I ran a lot there. I kind of piss people off over there. Every once in a while, I like really piss people off just to kind of scrub it because I actually don't want people following me that like aren't the real ballers. That's what's special about Island Project. It's like the real ballers, you know? It's like the real church. It's a church as much as it is almost an investment, even though we're not organized that way technically. Probably should be though, because none of the churches pay any taxes, which is kind of cool. And I do preach, so I mean, honestly, like, okay, let's see here. It's very obvious what the elites are doing. They're sucking liquidity out of the financial markets to pump into SpaceX IPO. I posted this like on June 6, 26. It's very obvious what the elites are doing. They're sucking liquidity out of the financial markets to pump into SpaceX IPO. Next comes Anthropic and OpenAI. By the way, I don't even know if we get that far. These companies will suck decatrillions out of the stock market and directly from Americans' retirement accounts and pensions, which it's done. SpaceX has now since collapsed 40%, wrecking anyone that bought it. This is also why Bitcoin is falling at the moment. We even saw this like when Trump came out with Trump coin. What these people do is they suck all the liquidity out of the market to themselves, pocket it for themselves, and then it crashes Bitcoin and all the other stocks. It's the same thing SpaceX did, and it's even the same thing, even though I own Trump coin. And I do like Donald Trump, even though I give him criticism. But that's the same thing he pretty much did with Trump coin. He just launched it, doesn't own anything, and he just sucks everything out of the market. So this is why Bitcoin is falling as well. This is the last part of the wealth transfer to AI, blockchain, Bitcoin, tokenization of real-world assets, and cryptos. So this is the opportunity field, and I want you to understand this is the opportunity to make the big, big money. This is why we're going so hard with Island. This is when the billions come in. Okay, so I want you to understand this disruption from now to the end of the year to the reset of 2030 is where the big, big baller money is going to be made during collapse and obliteration of the American empire. What's happening now? So they're essentially IPOing at the top. I expect Bitcoin to capitulate between 40 and 60,000. So I think we're in a range between 40 to 60K from here to the end of the year. And that 40K move, if we get it, is going to come on some BS Donald Trump pulls like false flag. We were attacked in the Strait of Hormuz. Oh, Lindsey Graham was airstriked. Oh my gosh, we never could have predicted this skirmish. We've just nuked Iran. It was great. I mean, it's going to come on something like that. So 40 to 60K. You should be buying in dollar cost averaging now in HODL. So they're just extracting as much capital, wealth, power, resources away from the American people to consolidate before the reset. Then, after all this chaos, what's going to happen? And this is exactly what's going to happen. Everything's going to go up only. Everything. And they're going to inflate all real assets to levels no American will ever afford to buy again. UBI will be introduced, and every product, service, robot, AI agent, healthcare website, and software will be on a permanent subscription plan. Housing will all be rentals, mostly unaffordable. Same with cars and other assets, and only very few oligarchs will control it. Own and have direct ownership over any of these resources. You own nothing, you will be happy, and that's the society they're building. Even the brain chips will be on a subscription model, so the mark's going to have a subscription on it as well. And it's going to provide constant updates like an iPhone and new hardware releases. Same thing with the robots Elon Musk is going to sell you. You're not going to own any of those. You'll be on a subscription plan. You're going to lease robots for the rest of your life. And the robots won't do anything cool unless you pay a higher subscription to Elon Musk. You'll own nothing, you'll be happy, and you're going to be enslaved. And unless you're rich and you can afford all of these stupid-ass subscription model assets, you're going to be on the wrong side. Assets, clothing, housing, healthcare, insurance, robots, social media, entertainment, AI agents, all on subscriptions. These people, just like they are now, these people are literally building a hell pit dystopia, merging state power, rigging our financial system, and contaminating people's bodies. If people don't wake up now and take action, they're not going to make it. It's just what's happening, guys. That's where it's going. So just to understand, it's not all doom and gloom. You have an opportunity to get really ahead and do the right thing and take action and be fruitful and multiply and honestly dominate, which is absolutely what we're doing. Just like when I picked up the water polo ball and double barred in over the idiot goalie's head at the Naval Academy because he got cocky and he didn't respect. And so I took the shot and I obliterated him. And it's the same thing we've done with Island Project. We ain't waiting for anyone to give us approval. We already did it. We got $100 million now. Thank you very much. How about them apples? And we're going to have $1 billion soon. And the reason is we're being fruitful and multiplying like the first talent. We're taking some risk with no bank debt. We're doing it biblically, and we're stewarding it properly, which is why God is giving us even more and more abundance. And I have so many people coming in hand over fist with 200K minimums that it's freaking insane. And we just had another 200K coming this morning from Mr. DeSantis. And we have another 250 coming in from the gentleman in Australia, from Yeshua. We have 50 grands of those people. Those just cleared as well. Those people, remember I said there'd be a lucky couple people that got in with the 50K, which is now done. They're all in too. And so we're adding another key 100 investors, and we're just blowing things up. We're just going to the moon. And we're buying more Bitcoin, and as everything gets gutted, all of it, okay, and Bitcoin's at 40 to 60K, we're buying more. And then when the elites are completely done and everything's, happened, and the world war, again, that's going to be the next scam. Oh, we would have had a good economy, but it's the war. Oh, Donald Trump would have been able to deliver the stock market returns, but the war, that crummy war. If it wasn't for that Iran conflict that Donald Trump got pulled into, I mean, even Donald Trump's super followers are like, well, it wasn't his fault. He just got pulled into the war. It's like The Godfather, he's playing 5D chess, but it wasn't his fault. It was an accident, like a dog taking a poop on the living room floor that now we're at war. If it wasn't for that lockdown, the economy would have done well. But of course, we had that bat poo floating around. No one could have predicted it. Oh, yeah, Donald Trump would have pulled off that golden age, but it turned into a golden turd because of that crummy war. Again, it's all just a bunch of lies and bullcrap. They're just selling you lies and bullcrap, guys. That's all that it freaking is. You're welcome, Mary. I love you too. God bless you. So just know what's going to happen next and understand it's not all doom and gloom. It is doom and gloom for those of you that are sloths, that aren't taking any action, that aren't doing anything, that aren't fighting back, that aren't organizing. And I have this question too, and I'll answer this question truthfully as I always do. Someone asked, well, Christopher, what if we don't have the money to get into Island Project? Then what should we do? You should do something just like it then. Okay, do it on a smaller scale. And listen to what I'm saying. Pull your money from BlackRock, pull your money from these criminal bankers, take control of it. Don't stay in cash. Cash is trash. Get out of cash as quickly as possible and buy anything of real sovereign control you can get your hands on. Could literally be anything. Start dollar cost averaging into gold and silver then and hold on to it. And don't just bury it, though, grow it. Start a business, get involved in your church, network. You can learn skills for free. Figure out how to grow your income, right? Grow your income, grow your cash flows then. Grow your body. I mean, you'd be amazed if you simply grow your body and have a little discipline, everything else translates too. A lot of it comes with health, wellness, spirit, and all that. And then all the money and stuff follows you because people notice. When you walk into a room and you have confidence and you stand at attention and you're tall, right? You stand tall, okay, and confident, you're usually the person everyone's staring at. Most people have zero confidence. I mean, people like me piss a lot of people off because they don't understand why I have so much confidence. Because I have faith in God. Because I expect to win. I know I'm going to win. You should have the same confidence. It's why you're not a winner. Michael Jordan didn't think he was going to lose when he pulled up for the money-making shot. He pulled up because he knew he was the only guy in the world that was going to pull it off through God. Kobe Bryant, same thing, man. He didn't believe in moderation. He believed in hard work. He believed in pushing it to the extreme. Does a Navy SEAL train in moderation like a baby? No. A Navy SEAL trains, gets hit, gets bloodied, and gets back up again and again and again and again and again and again. It's annoying, isn't it? And the reason the people react aggressively to people like a lot of you tuning in and people like me is because, again, it's very flagrant. They think there's rules or something to how the world has been designed. They bought into the lie of their institutions and retirement and like how everything's supposed to work. And they're listening to what the elites are instructing, like, hey, slave, do this. Hey, slave, do that. Hey, slave, you're working for our plantation. See, they've bought into it. And they don't realize that all the elites did is just invented their own system and put everyone else's ass to work and said, you're working for us, you're our slave. And then they implemented a bunch of systems and institutions and media and all this stuff that reinforces it. Okay. And then they control everything and all the infrastructure and all the networks and all the tech and AI like they currently they do today. And then they just reinforce it even more. And the list goes on and on. Just like I took the shot, there's no rules, guys. There's certain rules, God's governance, follow the 10 commandments, follow God's law. But again, you know what people didn't think of when I had the ball? They didn't think some guy was crazy enough to shoot, because you're not supposed to shoot in that moment, because they thought that no one would shoot. But I did, and I ripped his face off. Because again, this is what people don't understand. There is no competition. No one is even trying. Your competitive advantage is taking the shot, making the move, going all in, betting on yourself, taking risk, being fruitful and multiplying, being a good steward, inventing, working. That's where there is no risk. The greatest risk is doing nothing and doing what Satan also tells most people to do. And what does he say? Wait. Put it off for another day. When things look a little safer, then you can walk on water. I'm saying live now. Again, today could be the last day for all of us. This might be our last day alive. We all just had a broadcast together. We're all sitting here. This could be it. This could be, why would you waste another second? Why wouldn't you book your vacation right now and come and go spend that amazing time with your friends and family or with a loved one or even by yourself and go enjoy it, man? I mean, live it up. Because if you believe we're in the end times in the last days, you might as well go all in and give it to God. You might as well be living large before the next lockdown. I mean, if they're going to close everything down again and they're introducing the mark, why wouldn't you just go balls to the wall now while you still can? You see, you can look at it from a number of different angles. And you'll find the smartest person in the world, which should be you, is the man or woman taking aggressive action every single day and living and executing in the very moment and putting in all that work, not moderating and being quite frankly extreme, which a lot of people don't understand. And a lot of people don't like. And why is that? It threatens their status quo. People like me threaten a lot of people, not in a real way. I'm talking metaphorically, but they find it threatening. There's a reason for that. Okay? They think they can't do it. I'm telling you, you can. And that's why I show you all the time. I'm like, you think a Lambo's a big deal? It's not. Check it out. In fact, we won't even buy one. Let's buy two just to really rub it in. I'm showing you it ain't hard. One Christian dude and a loudmouth on the internet and my father can rally $100 million from a cell phone and do it overnight. I'm just showing you all. You ain't trying hard enough. I'm proving it to you. That's actually kind of like the real thing that gets me up in the morning. It's not even the money. It's just like, let's show these people and let's show the world that they ain't trying hard enough. We're going to walk out our Learjet with these diamond balls and we're going to show people how come you ain't doing it. And that's the point. If you rallied just as hard as my members have already and our new onboards, and I'm sure more of you coming in today, the money's abundant, guys. The cash flows are endless because they print money from nothing into infinity backed by nothing, and none of it's real, and you're in freaking hyperinflation, And it's easy to make money. The hard thing is buying the scarcest assets in the world, which you've got my father and I for. But again, if, everybody was as tenacious and a little good crazy like we are, man, you'd be a lot further ahead. You'd actually give us competition. I say this all the time, and I ain't bluffing, man. We don't have any competition. I walk into a room and I know everyone there will sit down, stand down, and will not face the fire like I can. I know you will give up the second you are shot at. I know the second it gets hard, you will queef and you will give up. I know I'm willing to for what I believe in. I know I'll never back down. I know I'll take that extra risk you're afraid of. I know I'll walk through flames because the Lord has my back. I know I'm invincible through Jesus Christ. I know I have his power. His power streams through my veins. And see, that's a weapon that people can't compete with because everyone else might push a little, even try a little bit, even a little hard. But right when it gets to the critical moment, right when it gets to that critical point, and the blood starts to boil, and the heart starts pounding, they'll take a step back. And someone like me, which should be all of you, will step right towards it and walk through it, baby. Do you understand? Just like the shot. It ain't me. It's God. If all of you have the same faith I do, you would know you could walk on water this afternoon. You would understand that everything is limitless and abundant in your life. You would know from the bottom of your heart, because you would know it, you never die, that everything is eternal and limitless through the kingdom of God. You would have no fear when they locked you down. You would walk towards it when you didn't comply. You would launch that business. You would go after that girl. You would follow God, and you would do the things that don't make sense when he asks. You would testify to his name. You would share the miracles in your own life. You would grow and tend to the perfect gifts that God has already given you, and you would make them greater through him. You would give everything to him. You wouldn't bury a thing. You'd let go. You wouldn't anchor yourself down. No. You wouldn't die. You'd really live. Live your investment. The Digital Noah's Ark. Ark of the Covenant Properties, LLC. Again, I spoke with God a few days ago, and he spoke very eloquently and poignantly, and he reminded me, as I already know, he said, Chris, I am the ark. I am the rainbow, and I'm carrying you and all your members every step of the way. He said, I got this. I am God. Hear me roar. And I'm coming, baby. That's what he said. And I prayed to him. I've been praying to God a lot lately. I've been asking him, God, am I going too hard? I think I'm going kind of hard here. Like, I'm going hard. I think I'm hitting a vein. I think I might even be pissing some people off right now. You know what I heard? Go harder. Hit harder, he said. Swing harder is what I heard. He said, you're on the path. You're on the path I've set for you. He said, I'm going to light the blaze your way. That mountain you think you can't climb, I'm lifting you up. That valley you think is insurmountable, I'm going to carry you over. That water you think you can't walk, take my hand because you're going to sail across. That fear, that cancer, that problem, that obstacle, that addiction, that regret, I'm going to get rid of it because you're born again, because you're alive in my name. Amen. Can we preach it? Can we preach his name? Can we preach the word of God? Can we roar it to the mountaintops? A lot of you are focused on the destruction and the hate and the evil of this world, but you ain't testifying, baby. I'm here to testify the word of God. It don't always make sense. Sometimes, as I'm often reminded by family and friends, I'm probably misunderstood in a lot of ways. People don't see what I see. I look at things differently. I'm the type of person to ask questions a lot of you wouldn't ask. And I'm not saying a lot of you don't ask some of those great questions, but like I see things through a different lens. I do not see it from the lens of this world, and nor should you. I see it through the lens of God and what is happening and why and what should I be doing. So again, we all want to hear, great job, good and faithful servant. Great job, you tuning in, good and faithful servant. Great job, good and faithful servant. Great victory, good and faithful servant. We all want to hear that, man. But you don't just want to hear that when you're dead, when everything's stripped away from you. The day you die, everything's going to be left behind. All of it. Your job, your business, your platform, your ego, your family, your friends, the world, the politics, all of it won't be there anymore. It's just going to be you and God. And that's it. And you'll be facing him. And that's going to be a great moment. He's got your real name etched in stone, by the way, for those of you who don't know, your biblical name. Some of you might not know that. And that's going to be the best day of your life because that will be the actual real life. But you don't just want to hear, good job, loyal and faithful servant, on that day. No, you want to hear it now, like the parable of the 3 servants, of the 3 talents. You want to hear it now. Can I get an amen? You want to hear it today. You want to make that call now. You want to give up that addiction now. You want to heal that relationship now. You want to do that thing you've been holding off on, make that business decision, ask that person out, give that testimony. You want to get baptized now, not tomorrow, not the next day. You want to live your retirement now, not in the future. Next time your financial advisor says later, you say now. I want to live now. You say, you watch the general. He says, I can live now. You tell him I invested so I could live today. You call him from the condo, from the mansion and say, hey, I'm living now. I ain't waiting. I ain't waiting for the next lockdown. I ain't waiting for the next pokey. I ain't waiting for the economic collapse. I'm living now, baby. I'm going all in my life. And you will watch the world open up, the abundance flow through you. You will see God's glory. You will know him. You will find purpose and hope and love and prosperity and gifts in places you never knew existed. And it has nothing to do with money. The miracle of God is in front of all of us and all of you right now. It's here. In this rallying cry for America, 1776, your Declaration of Independence, your war against yourself, against sin, against Satan, and rebuking evil and the downfalls of this world and our culture and the poison and all of it. It is a war you declare today. You don't wait. You go all in. You go diamond balls, baby. You take the shot. I'll help you. My dad is here to guide. We are here to lead. And if you ain't leading and you don't got a solution like us, follow or get out of the way. Mic drop. Because you ain't the solution in that case. And I want all of you tuning in, to be that solution and to be the greatness and the glory that God built you for. A perfect representation of the image of God in his form. As Adam and Eve were described, look just like God. And all of us are descendants from them, and we look just like God. The other face on the other side of this camera I'm speaking to, and I can see all of you, by the way. I know that's crazy. You might not believe that, but I can spiritually. Literally see thousands of your faces right now. And I can see the intricate features of all of your eyes, all of your noses, all of your ears, all of it. I can literally see that spiritually. My eyes see outside of the temporal space. Do you understand that? I see you and I know you and I'm speaking right to you. And if you're seeing this video, no, I'm rallying. I'm rooting for you tuning in because I know you've got the gift. I know you've got the fire like I do. You just lost it somewhere along the way. Pick it up. It's not gone. It's not far removed. It's right there. Let's dig it out. Let's dig that treasure. Let's unbury it. Let's give it to God. Let's live. Thousand freaking X. To the moon and beyond. Because if you ain't living, you're dying. Stay dangerous, Maverick. I am General Greene. God bless. Jesus Christ is King. I just delivered the Holy Spirit through the rallying cry. The Holy Gospel, parable of the 3 talents, and all the beauty and immensity of all of you tuning in. And you just listen to the message of a lifetime. And if you're here still, I congratulate you. But I also close with, if you've gotten this far, don't wait a second more. Take action, go big, and go all in. Because until you do that, the next door won't open. Hint, hint.